Welcome to IQ Checker YouTube channel, home of science quizzes and IQ tests.
This is a continuation of the paper 1, October-November Cambridge IGCSE paper 1 variant 1 that we started with in the previous video. If you've not watched that, you can go back to it, because in the last video we were able to cover from question 1 all through to question 20 in the last video. So if you have not watched it, you can go back to it. Okay, so today we'll continue from question 21. And it says, which table correctly shows the difference in composition of inspired air compared with expired air? So, inspired as inhaled air and expired exhaled air. So, option A says, inspired air, we have less of oxygen in inspired. That makes this statement wrong, because inspired air has more of oxygen. The same thing goes with option B. This makes it wrong. Alright. Then option C, we have more of oxygen. Then I'll come to expired air, we have more of carbon dioxide. So this makes this our correct answer. And if you look at the inspired air, have more of oxygen, the same more, so this makes this one wrong. So for question 21, C is our correct answer. So we'll move to question 22 now. Question 22 says, what is the site for gaseous exchange? The site for gaseous exchange is not the nose, it is the alveoli. It is not the bronchioles, neither is it the trachea. So B is our correct answer, the site for gaseous exchange. So we'll now move to question 23. It says, which statement about anaerobic respiration are listed? Number 1, in humans the product is lactic acid. Anaerobic lactic acid is produced in yeast. It does not produce lactic acid, and it releases more energy per glucose molecule than aerobic. No. So automatically from the options, 1 only is our correct answer. So in humans the product is lactic acid. So from here we'll move to question 24. Question 24 says, which organ produces insulin? Which organ produces insulin? Insulin is produced not in the adrenal gland, not by the liver, not by the ovary, but rather by the pancreas. So option D is our correct answer for this. Alright, so we'll now move to question 25. Question 25 says, the diagram shows the human excretory system. Which labeled structure is the urethra? So this we quickly label this part. Part A, labeled A, is descending aorta. Alright, it's from the aorta of the heart, and they'll simply say descending aorta. Alright. Part B is the renal artery. Okay. It's the renal artery. C is the ureter, while D is the urethra. So automatically option D is our correct answer. Urethra is the part labeled D. So we'll now proceed to question 26. Question 26 says, the diagram shows 3 types of neurons. Which sequence shows the direction that impulses will travel during a reflex action? So it will be good enough if we can just name these parts. Okay, if we can just name these neurons. So in these neurons, L is the sensory neuron. Okay, then M is the relay neuron. While N is the motor neuron. So the sequence is from the sensory neuron to the relay neuron, then to the motor neuron. So we'll have the L to M to N. So with this now we can now look at our options. Okay, our options L to M to N. So automatically our answer is option A. So B is wrong, C is wrong, and D is wrong. So we'll now move straight to question 27. Question 27 says, which part of the eye detects red light? Which part of the eye detects red light? Actually, it is the cone of the eyes that detect colors. So it is not the cornea, it is not the iris, it is not the optic nerve, but rather the retina. The retina contains the rod and the cones. So the cones of the retina are responsible for the detection of colors. Then we'll now move to question 28. Question 28 says, the diagram shows a sperm cell, a human sperm cell. Which structure digests the egg cell membrane? Alright, so this part of the sperm is called the acrosome, and the acrosome contains the enzymes. B contains is the nucleus, while C the mitochondria. Okay, while D is obviously the tail. Alright, now the acrosome contains enzymes. So these enzymes are the one that digest the egg cell membrane. So our answer is option A. That makes option A our perfect answer. Now we'll now move to question 29. Question 29 says, which diseases can be successfully treated with antibiotics? Definitely, antibiotics are used for the treatment of diseases caused by bacteria. So for antibiotics to work, it must be a disease caused by bacteria. Okay, then you look at rickets. Rickets cannot be cured by antibiotics. It's as a result of deficiency of vitamin D, and it cannot be used for curing viral diseases. So the only one A fails here, A fails at this point, C fails at this point, and D fails at this point, but C, option B, is a correct answer. Perfectly correct. Then question 20. Question 20 now, question 30 now says, some species of plants can reproduce by producing bulbs. The diagram shows a bulb. Now the question is, the bulb is produced by one parent plant. Take note of that. And will grow into a new plant. Which statement about the new plant is correct? It is genetically identical. It is produced by one plant. Alright? One plant. That is asexual reproduction. Alright? And in asexual reproduction, they are genetically identical. So for option A to say they are genetically different is wrong. For option B to say they are genetically different as well is wrong. Option C says they are genetically identical. Okay, good. And then asexual reproduction, which makes it the perfect answer. Okay, then option D is wrong because it says it is sexual reproduction, or it is rather asexual reproduction. So we can now move to question 31. Question 31 says, which diagram of the male reproductive system is correctly labeled? Which of the diagram is correctly labeled? The urethra in option A, and say that the urethra is correctly labeled, the scrotum is correctly labeled, and the sperm is correctly labeled. So this is a correct answer. But if you look at option B, this is not the sperm duct. It is rather the urethra. This one too is wrongly labeled. This is the only correctly labeled part. Then if you look at option C, in option C, although the urethra is correctly labeled, the sperm duct is correctly labeled, but the prostate gland is not the prostate gland. Now if you look at option D, this is not the sperm duct, it's rather the urethra. This is wrongly labeled, although this is correct. So our perfect answer is option A. Okay, then we'll now proceed to question 32. Question 32 says, what can be used to reduce the transmission of HIV? Reduce the transmission of HIV. Alright, face masks cannot do that. Okay, so face mask cannot do that. Then screening of blood, yes, screening of blood can help in doing that. Sterile needles can help in reducing transmission of HIV, but washing of hands, no, not reduce HIV. So with this now, we can say it is only option B that is correct here. It is only option B that is correct here. So A is wrong, C is wrong, D is wrong, but B is the correct answer. So from here, we'll now move straight to question 33. Question 33 says, which statement about the human sex hormone is correct? a human sex hormone? Option A, females have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. No, females don't have the Y chromosomes. Option B, females have two Y chromosomes. No, they have two X chromosomes. Option C, males and females have at least one X chromosomes. Yes, at least one X chromosomes. While option D, males and females have at least one Y chromosomes. No, only the males have the Y chromosome. So the correct answer is option C. Then we'll now move to question 34. Question 34 says, the inheritance of seed color in pear plants is controlled by a single gene. The allele for yellow seed color is Y, which is dominant. And the allele for green seed color is small letter y, which is recessive. What are the possible genotypes of a pear seed that is yellow? Pear seed that is yellow in the presence of a dominant Y. Remember, dominant Y. Alright, so you can have yellow when you have two dominant genes, or when you have a dominant gene and one recessive. So the dominant gene will always express itself. So option A is wrong, because this will produce a recessive trait, which is green. Then option B, this will produce green because it's recessive, which makes this option wrong as well. Then option C, yes, this is correct. While option D is wrong because this will produce green, which is recessive. Okay, so the only correct option here is option C, that will produce a yellow seed. Then we'll now move to question 35. The diagram shows the heights of students in a class. The heights of students in a class. What is the correct statement for this data? Option A says there are two students who are 147 centimeter tall. 147 centimeter tall. And looking at this height distribution on the x-axis, so 147 falls within this region. Okay, and from the statistics, there is no value recorded for that. So because of that, our option A is wrong. Then option B, the most frequent height range is 160 to 164. 160 to 164 has 20 students, so that is one correct option there. Okay, then option C, the range of student height measured is 150 to 174. 150 to 174. No, that's not the range. Then option D now says there are 72 students in the study. Now there are much more than that. So option C is wrong, option D is wrong. So the only correct option now is option B. The most frequent height is 160 to 164. So from here we'll now move straight to the next question, which is question 36. It says, which process decreases the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Which of them decreases the amount of carbon dioxide? Combustion produces more carbon dioxide, so it increases it. Decomposition as well increases it. The photosynthesis, of course, it makes use of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Respiration produces carbon dioxide, so it increases it. So the correct option here is option C. Now, question 34. Question 34 says, it is estimated that 90% of the energy which flows through living organisms in a food chain is lost between one trophic level and the next. The producers is a food chain contain 1000 units of energy. How many units will reach the quaternary consumers in the food chain? So this will take us to food chain, where we have producers, then we have the primary consumers, then we have the secondary consumers. Okay, then we have the tertiary consumers, and finally we have the quaternary consumers. Okay, now if these producers have 1000 units, so it will decrease to 100 here, then it will decrease to 10, it will decrease to 1, then it will decrease to 0.1 here. So we have 0.1 units at the quaternary stage, which makes 0.1 our correct answer. So it's not 1 unit, it's not 10 units, it's not 100 units. So this will now take us to question 38. Question 38 says, what can increase as a result of deforestation? What can increase as a result of deforestation? So deforestation can definitely take away the habitat of organisms, which can result into extinction. It can result into flooding as well. It cannot result into biodiversity. That makes our option B the correct answer. So it's not 1, 2, and 3, it's not 1 and 3, it's not 2 and 3. So option B is our correct answer. Then we will now move to question 39. Say the diagram shows the position of a farmer's field near a river. The farmer uses chemical fertilizers that drain into the river, causing pollution. High concentrations of the chemical fertilizer result in increased growth of aquatic plants. At which point is the growth of aquatic plants the least affected by fertilizers? Okay, now from the flow, look at the direction of water flow. So definitely this one here from A is also flowing in this direction. Okay, the one at A is also flowing in this direction. So definitely point B, we have the highest concentration of the fertilizer. C will follow, D will follow, but the one with the least amount will be A, because there is no point in time where the fertilizer is flowing backward. Alright, so option A, we have the least amount of fertilizer deposit. And last question here is question 40, and it says the diagram shows a food web. Which food chain shows a correct flow of energy through the web? Which food chain shows the correct flow of energy through the web? So we'll take them one after the other. Look at our option A. We have corn, to grasshopper, which is correct, to hawk, which is correct. Now back to lizard, which makes this chain wrong. Then we have option B, from grass to grasshopper, from grass to grasshopper, from grasshopper to hawk, from hawk back to rabbit. It also make this chain wrong. Then option C, from grass to rabbit, from rabbit to hawk, from hawk to flea, which is a perfect chain. Then corn to grass, no, this makes this chain is wrong. So the only correct option here is option C. So this marks the end of this video. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.